Hey guys, Maximilian with Fame Customs. Right here we got this 2026 4Runner that we're going to do a full wrap on. And as well as that in the video, I'm going to show you how to go through and tear everything apart that you need. So I'll put a little list right here so you can skip around the video if you only need one or two things. But we're not taking everything off the car because with the black paint, we're doing a dark military green. We don't need to take everything off to get full coverage. If it was a white car, we would have to take a little bit more off. But we'll start out with the door handles and the mirrors. To do so, you actually have to take the door panels off. So we'll start with the front door panel and then move to the rear, and then we'll get those out of the way, then show you how to do the door handles and the mirrors. Like I said, there will be that list you can skip around. All right, so for the front door panels, you're going to want these three tools. You're going to want a plastic pry tool, a T30, and then a like medium-sized Phillips head screwdriver. So you're going to take off some plastic panels to begin with. There's one right here. If you pull this back, you can pop the plastic pry tool right there, and this cover will pop out. Next, take off the little mirror cover, take that out. Right here, this cover, it slides inwards, so to the front of the car, if that makes sense. But you can kind of just like push it, and it's best with two hands. And if it's giving you some pressure, there's a little notch right there. Pry a little bit, but don't push it fully, because I'll show you what it looks like over on that side. But it basically slides forward. And then lastly, this little control unit, you'll pop that up, and it'll expose the wires. But yeah, I'll show you what it looks like on that side. All right, so this side I have fully disconnected. You're gonna have two Phillips that looks like this, screws, one right in here, all the way back in there, and the other one right there. Those are the heavy duty ones for the actual grab handle. Then right here, you got this black one, a little smaller, it'll be right there. And then lastly, only thing holding the door on is this little plastic tab. You just push it in, and that is located right there. This doesn't have anything behind it, but you do need to release that cover. I'll show you how to release that cover on the rear, because I will be taking it off over there. But yeah, once you have that, you can take a pry tool and start from the front bottom corner. That's usually the easiest part to start, and go around. There's just plastic tabs. If you ever taken door panel off, it's the same as any other one. And then it'll just be held on by the top. So now you can go through and disconnect any wires located back there, which there's only a couple, but yeah. Okay, so looking at the door panel downwards, you'll have these little latches, which if you ever use these, again, they're pretty simple. So the green one goes on the bottom, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like. Pops it like that, whoops, like that, and that swivels around, and that little notch right there, you just click it in until you hear it snap in. Same thing with the white one, that one goes on top. These wires you disconnected from right here, and then lastly, there's a little light, which usually pops out itself when you take the door panel off. But you'd either just leave that or disconnect it and move it to the side. But yeah, that's located on the bottom of the door. So the rear door panels are nearly identical to the front. You just won't have that little plastic tab. You'll only have to worry about the same bolts, same amount of them. This cover I thought I'd show you. You can see those little teeth. So when you put it back in, you'll put it a little bit to the front and then slide it in like that, so those notches line up. But when you take it out, you need to pull it forward as if the door is closed to the front of the car. And then if it's giving you too much trouble, like I said, you could use two hands, obviously that's easier, or just kind of pop your plastic pry tool. Don't necessarily pry it, but just kind of give it a little bit of a push outwards while you pull it forwards, and that'll kind of release the teeth. But yeah, same exact procedure. The only difference with this one is you will have a wire harness right there, as you can see that white right there. So once the door panel's off, you'll be able to disconnect that, and that's kind of like the mother harness that connects the entire door. But yeah, now you have the door panels off, so we'll show you how to do the handles. All right, so now that we have the door panels off, we can take the actual door handles themselves out. They're a little bit different, but same procedure overall. So the front does have a wire, so that's kind of what you're disconnecting, and each one has like this white clamp that you can have to pull out, which again, I'll show you. So tools, I mentioned the T30 for the door panels, but you actually only need the T30 for the door handles themselves. I recommend a little pick and then a little plastic tab puller. So you need this white cover removed to get access. So you can see there's one, where's this at? 2, 3, 4 little plastic tabs. So go ahead and pop those. Once you have those out, it'll be loose, or you'll twist these left, and you'll need two hands, one pulling and one with the tab, kind of pop these out. But there's 3 of those, these little cork looking things, and then just disconnect the wire just so it's free. There's one down there too. You just want this out. Okay, so that's what the panel looks like. You can loosen that if you want, but there's no tension, so there's not really reason to. Right there, that little claw that looks like that, the white pieces, you'll basically push them together and swing it outwards, swing it forward. So push it and then pull it like that. Now, just push it forward as much as it will, but don't push it too hard so it breaks. Now you can pull this to the back of the car like that and swing it out. Now, I'll let that rest, but that's a wiring harness. Little side note, there will be a little plastic grommet that you can remove, and there's a T30 right there. Loosen that to get the end cap out if you need to. But if you're just replacing door handles, it's not really needed. Also, there's a lot of grease on the car, so keep a napkin nearby. I'm filming this on Snapchat real quick, side note. So I only have a minute each video. My actual camera app, the microphone's not working, so I need Snapchat. So right here, you'll have 1, 2, and then 1 right there. I'll show it what it looks like on the other side, but those are what you'll. So with your pick tool, you basically have to pop this and this, the left and right side, and butterfly them out. And then you will also have to lift this little black tab right there. You'll basically have to get under it and pop it upwards, pull it out, and then this will disconnect the door handle. The rear door handles don't have wires, which make them a little easier, but it is also a little bit more difficult because it is a little harder to take off the rear cap. But if you don't need to do that, it doesn't matter. Make sure you take off the little weather stripping, keep hold of those, put them in when you're done. So right here, you'll basically pull the weather liner, which is actually just plastic, back, and you'll have those claws, same procedure. And when you do that, the door handle will literally just swivel outwards, and it's as easy as that. There's no wires. But if you want to take this off, it's a little bit of a different process. So you'll have 3 T30s holding the door actual latch on. So disconnect that. That will swivel out of the way. Oh, you'll have to disconnect that wire, which was, as I was saying, for the rear, you'll have this little harness. Disconnect that. 3 T30s that look like this. They're all identical. Little silver looking ones. Disconnect that. This whole little hinge will move out of the way, and then you'll have access through this hole that you can see. There's light. Oh, there you go. So 1 T30. Disconnect that T30, and then this end cap will move and be able to be taken out. That's if you want that out, but if you're swapping like to painted handles or whatever you're doing, you don't necessarily need to take that out for the rear. But yeah, that's how you do it. Like I said, the front one's a little bit more process with the wire, but that's about it. So yeah, next we will get onto the mirrors. All right, now with the mirrors, pretty simple. Tools you'll want: a 10mm little magnet tool, and then a little plastic tab puller. So the magnet tool, really not needed, but it just helps to make sure they don't fall down in there, just because the post for them doesn't come all the way out. So yeah, side note, that's what the 10mm looks like. So basically behind these 3, you'll have those little plastic grommets. Remove those. You'll have the 3 10mm. You will have a plastic little mount right there. Disconnect that. And then lastly, the harnesses, 1, 2. This one looks a little different, but same procedure. You basically just push that piece right there in, and then as always, this one's pretty self-explanatory. You click that in and then pull up. And then once you have all 3, I still have 2 left in. It's nice to have someone on the outside hold it, unless you have the window down, or just reach around this side. But basically support the mirror to make sure it doesn't fall. But yeah, basically the mirror will be disconnected once you remove those. All right, so for the taillights on this 4Runner, they are super simple. I will show you how to do those real quick. So you will have a plastic panel right here, which you can literally just take your hand and pull backwards on. You can see there's only a couple little plastic prongs that click into place. Then that will expose one of the 10mm, which is right here, and then the other 10mm is right there. So there's only 2. Disconnect those. This is what they look like for reference. So disconnect those, and then pull the taillight towards the back of the car, and there's one little prong that is pressed into place. So you're basically just pulling it backwards. I'll put a hand right here, and then the other hand kind of hold onto the side and kind of just, like I said, pull backwards. Right here, the wiring harness, there's only one. The disconnect piece right there is at the top. So push that in. I had to push a little flathead in between that slit right there and kind of use leverage to disconnect it because it was pretty stiff. But other than that, yeah, pretty simple. All right, now I'm going ahead and taking apart the trunk so I can take off the actual little plastic trim that says Toyota. So what we're gonna do is take off this plastic cover. What I did was pop this black piece out with a tab tool, and I put it back in just so I can still have the buttons. Once that's out, you can see there are two 10 millimeters that are black, 1, 2. I removed those. I don't know for a fact if you have to, so maybe try it without it, but go ahead now with your tab tool again, pop all the way around. They're just a bunch of plastic tabs. You'll hear them releasing similar to the door panels. And then, yeah, I don't know for a fact if you had to take the 10 millimeter out like I did, but I just temporarily put them back in. But I don't know for a fact if you do, but if it's still giving you trouble, try taking them out. All right, so now that we have that big piece off, I went ahead and removed this plastic cover. You can see there's just about 6 of those blue plastic little tabs, and then as well as that, I released the tabs that were holding the wire on just so I can completely take that panel out. Once you have that out, you will see, I know I'm flipping around a couple times, but there's 2 grommets right here. There's a grommet right here, and there should be a grommet right here, but there is that wire in the way. Remove those 3, and that'll give you access to the 10 millimeters, 1, 2, 3. Then the 4th one is where this would be, but you can't really take that grommet out. So just basically go back in there and remove that 10 millimeter. Other than that, it's just held in by these plastic clips. But let me work on this for a second, I'll get back. So now you can see with those 4 10 millimeters out, you can go on the outside with your plastic tab tool. I found it best to wedge it down here on the bottom. And then it fit in the best right here, and then you kind of swivel it over and kind of pry a little bit. Then I don't know how many amount of tabs, but there's not too many. I already have it disconnected, as you can see. Probably 8 plastic white tabs right there. Now you can go through and disconnect these wires. Some of them may be through the back, I guess. So I'm gonna have to go in through the inside, find this wire right there and disconnect it. And then these things you can take out if you want. I probably won't, but yeah, that's just the amount of access I need to actually be able to wrap the rear trunk a lot easier, and it's worth the time to take it out. All right, now for the roof rails, what you're gonna have to do is I recommend having 2 plastic pry tools. One you'll pop right here and then wedge it up just enough. Then with this one, obviously 2 hands, one pulling that slightly and one with a 90 preferably, pop it in there and work your way. It'll release a bunch of tabs. I will need both hands to do this, but basically it'll expose something that looks like this. You'll have 2 10 millimeters, or sorry, 12 millimeters rather, that look like that. So 8 in total, because you have 2 up front, 2 on the back, and then mirrored on the other side, 8 total. Once all those are out, this will slide straight up. All right, now we're gonna take off the antenna. So to do so, you do have to pull some of the headliner just down a little bit. So what we're gonna do is pull it from this point. You're gonna see there's 1, 2, those will be plastic tabs. I'll show you what those look like in a second. What you wanna do right here, just take a plastic pry tool, pop that, and pull this completely out each side. Over here on the back, you will have 1, 2, 3 more of the little Christmas tree type tabs like that. So 5 in total. Like I said, 2 and then 3 right there. Next, same thing right here. Just pop a plastic pry tool and pop it outwards on each side. Woo, like that. And then right here, you're gonna have like a little clothes hanger type thing. So this is what it looks like. What you wanna do, and I'm gonna start a new video because it's about to end. So the tools you'll want are 2 small like pick tool or flathead type tools. What you're gonna do is pop it in between the plastic like that, and this little cap should pull out exactly like that. Next, this will be what it looks like. Basically, there's 4 teeth, 2 on top, 2 on bottom. So what you wanna do is get either one on the top and either one on the bottom, pinch them together. All you're trying to do is clear those 2 teeth. And then when you put it back in, you wanna make sure it looks like this, assembled. You wanna, cause sometimes this metal clip can pull out of itself. So just make sure it's back in, and essentially just pop it in like that, and then pop that cap into the center of it. And that's how you get the headliner out. Not out, but being able to move down. Basically now you'll be able to have a little bit of access to get in there. Okay, so now that the headliner is able to be pulled back a little bit for the antenna, I recommend a super low profile, little ratcheting wrench, but you can just use a normal little hand wrench if that's all you got. It just makes it a little easier because it is kind of tight in here. Pull it back, not enough to really stress the headliner, but you will see, I'll try to get some light in there. So this will be the harness, and what you want to do is that little tab right there, push it with like a flathead or even your fingernail, but you'll push it in on itself. So right where my fingernail is, push it in, and then just pull downwards on it. The way it's facing, you'll see you'll pull it down. Lastly, after that, you'll see that 10 millimeter right up in there. loosen that 10 mil all the way out, and then the antenna should pull out from the top. So for the rear fenders, you're just gonna have one 10 millimeter right here, and then you're gonna have a couple clips, 1, 2, and then 3 up here. Those look like this. Once you take those out, I would start from this edge and slowly work your way. Don't pull it too much from one area, or else it will like literally crinkle the fender flare, but it's just a couple white plastic tabs holding it on after that. Then for the mud flap, if you care, there's a Phillips, and then right down here, a 10 mil and a 10 mil. So take those out and then it'll just pop off. All right, so for the little fender flares on the door, basically you're gonna have a ton of plastic clips, similar to almost everything else, but you do have to take out these 2 small little push tabs. Those look like this, and they're actually really small. Best way to do, take these out, or just a small little flathead. It won't really focus, but you get the point. Pop those 2 out. There, one right there, and then the rest you can just pop up with your hand. Like I said, it's just with the white plastic clips. Just be careful. All right, now we're gonna take out this front fender. This is super simple. So you're gonna have 7 10 millimeters across the bottom of this. So you may wanna rotate the wheel back and forth a little bit to access the front. So in this case, I have it tilted this way so you can access these. There's gonna be 7, I believe there's 2 right here, 1, 2, and then 3 right there. So 7 10 millimeters that look like this. And then once all those 10 millimeters are out, you can go ahead and, oh, real quick, there will be these little things. You can just take a flathead and kind of wedge these little things off. They're kind of pressure fitted. Wedge those off, and then the entire thing's just held in with some plastic clips. As you can see, you'll just pull those off slowly, make sure you don't bend it, and then, yeah, the front fender would be off. Okay, so that's gonna be everything we are taking off this vehicle. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Hopefully people can help out. Just since this isn't my personal vehicle, it is a customer, so it's not gonna be something I can take apart in the future unless I get another one in. But yeah, go ahead and leave a comment if you need help. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, consider subscribing or liking if it did help you out. Thank you guys.